everything worked. Oh, great. Now it's freezing again. This is that bullshit. Somebody go and see if it's up. Please. Oh. Can you see me? Is it freezing again? All right, I should be live on YouTube right now. So, like I said, I'll probably leave this on for a little bit just to kind of give it a go. Where should I set this up? Can you guys hear me all right on YouTube? All right. Welcome. Drin Talk Tuesdays. I know we are a little late. I apologize. I was actually running late just from leaving work. But not, if you guys saw my little story earlier, I was working out. I had to work on cardio. So I did an extended cardio day. And then right after we had a call. So that's why I'm a little late. And I got here late. Computer was off. It takes a while to boot up sometimes. But neither here or there. We are live. Drin Talk Tuesdays is in full effect. What's going on, everybody? So I guess without even further ado, let's just get into it. Today, I want to talk about consistency. And I'm going to actually talk about a couple of things because the way I feel, I always tell you guys in Drin Talks, it's more about, you ever hear those things where it's like, I'm saying something and it's really, yes, I'm saying it for the people, but it's more for me. It's more about how I'm feeling and what I need to hear, right? And maybe for me, it might be just if I say it out loud, if I put it out there, I'm receiving it a little better. Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? We're going to find out. Just for those that's on the gram, I'm about to cut off, switch over to the YouTube channel. The link is in the bio. All right. So yes, we're going to talk about consistency. So as men, being consistent, right? Let me start over. We're not talking specifically consistency, but we're going to talk a couple of things. And it's a couple of things that I wanted to hear from myself, right? As men, we are told we got to be consistent, right? Consistency in our lives, literally, it can breed prosperity in essence, right? So for a man to not be consistent, what happens when you're not consistent? Your life kind of falls apart. It's not in shambles, but like it's all over the place, right? You're kind of stretched in a lot of places. And for me, what I found in certain aspects of my life, I am consistent. In certain aspects of my life, I'm inconsistent. And in the inconsistent aspects of my life, those are the aspects that are quote unquote headaches, right? Those are aspects that are kind of, how should I say this? Those are the aspects of my life where they're problems, right? So when you have those problems, it now causes you to be annoyed. You're a little more irritable and all that stuff, right? Now, what can cause you to be inconsistent? Improper time management can cause you to be inconsistent. Not being complacent can cause you to be inconsistent. Being someone who is not of their word can make you be inconsistent, right? Because if you don't say if you don't do what you say, in essence, you're just a person who's not not reliable. So being unreliable is inconsistent. Now, how does this show up for me? All right. And I brought this topic up because I how this topic came about was for those of you that don't know, I recently moved up in rank in my volunteer firehouse. I'm currently now the second lieutenant. Now, in being the second lieutenant, my responsibilities are now a little more strenuous. All right. I'm now in charge of trucks. I'm in charge of the men. I Men come to me to look for advice, look for how to train, all that stuff. So now I now have to raise my level of aptitude to another. I have to raise it because I can't be the normal, just like, all right, if it's broken, it's broken. I'll tell it to somebody. I can't pass that off, right? People are telling me this stuff now. So I have to be a little more consistent in that. Now, where this came about was the past couple of trainings, right? And mind you, I had been off for about 3 years. I took a 3-year leave once I had gotten married. So coming back into the fire service, like, yeah, I was still around. I was doing my training, but not to the distinct level as I'm doing now. Why is this? Oh, this computer's bugging out on me. This is wild. So now I'm now having to deal with people asking me stuff. And on top of that, I'm now having to help train the probies and the younger firemen. Now, for me, I'm the type of person is like, if I'm going to train somebody, I better know what I'm training them about, right? I have to know what I'm doing because I don't want it to be that this person is just up there because it was a popularity contest. Like he doesn't really know what he's doing, da da da. Like I'm just not that person. And we've had lieutenants in the past or, officers in the past that me as, part of the men has felt that way. So for me, it's like I have all my ducks in a row. Recently, we've been training and, once you put on all that equipment and the mask and stuff and you're on air, it can start to feel claustrophobic. Now, the last time I felt that way was when I was a probie and we did a tower drill. And once you have that mask on, it only allows air once you inhale. After that, there's no air in the mask. So you can start feeling claustrophobic and feeling like you can't breathe. It takes a while to get used to, but I had gotten used to it. But again, like I said, I was off for 3 years. Now I'm back at it and I'm training with the younger men and I'm going through the evolutions, pulling hose. We have a training facility that we go through. So Sunday we was in this training facility and I'm pulling hose and I'm still trying to direct the men and we're going from upstairs, downstairs, up, doing all that. And I'm like, yo, I start to feel panicked. And that happens because now, again, you're not breathing normally because it's only allowing air once you inhale. But like, it feels so like you're suffocating and you feel claustrophobic, like you just want to rip everything out. And on top of that, with the gear, what the fire gear actually does, it doesn't allow heat in, but it also doesn't allow heat out. So you're literally burning in an oven, in essence, right? And mind you, we're in a training facility. There is no live burn. There's no fire. So it's getting hot in my gear and I'm feeling like I can't breathe. So you in essence feel like you're about to die. And now you're lugging around hose, your heart rate is going up, you're pumping blood and you're feeling like you can't get oxygen to your, it's a whole mess. So like the first instinct is to take everything off. But yes, it's a training facility. There's no live burn, but you have to sit there and go, hold up. Like, I can't take everything off. Technically, this is supposed to be a real fire. And if you think about it, in a real fire, it'll actually be hotter than what we're experiencing. And on top of that, I'm the lieutenant, so I'm not allowed to panic. If I panic, what does that say for my men? If I panic, how does that play over for them? That the lieutenant is scared, he don't know what to do. How the fuck are we supposed to know what to do? And I just cussed and I wasn't supposed to. I'm working on it, guys. So, with that being said, I realized, and then there was a car fire not too long ago where I was backing up one of my men, and literally same feeling again. So, to me, what that said to me was, I need to train more. So, normally after work, I am consistent about going to work out. I usually spend an hour or two working out, and then I come home. So what I've decided is, because I spend an hour or two working out, I can't then now add another hour or two to train. So I just combine the two. So starting yesterday, my workout yesterday was just strictly cardio, right? And I also realized in my younger days, I did a lot more cardio than I do now. But either way, it was strictly cardio. But what I did was I put on the full gear, went on air, and I ran around the firehouse. Like, I literally ran to simulate the stress of me being in a call. Because in essence, when those pagers goes off, those tones go off, you're going from 0 to 100. Like, your heart is going from a regular pace to now, boom, adrenaline's pumped into it. So it's going a mile a minute, and then now you have to learn to calm down in those situations. You have to learn to calm down with people yelling at you, calm down with all that, right? So trust me, I know the story is long-winded, but I'm getting somewhere with it. So that's what I planned. That's what I did. I ran around the firehouse. I got my heart rate up in a stressful situation. And again, it started to heat up, started to feel claustrophobic. And like I started to panic again. So I induced the point that I was trying to get was the panic of, oh my God, I want to take everything off. And then I just had to why can't I think of the word? I had to stick it through and just calm my breathing, take deep breaths enough. Because also, technically, it's a 30-minute bottle. But if you're sucking air, like, like that shit will only last 5 minutes. And again, that's your life. That's your lifeline. So think about it where you're going around with a hose. And the number one death killer of actual firemen is heart attacks, because their heart can't take it. It's very heart intensive. So you have to learn to really be calm in those situations and take slow breaths. So I induce all that stress and I take the slow breaths. Once I get calm again, I do it again. Induce all the stress, take slow breaths. Induce all the stress, take slow breaths. And just to get used to it, without having to open up my purge valve, which will give you, opening your purge valve will actually give you a rush of air at you, but you don't want to do that because it'll finish your bottle faster. So you want to learn to breathe like that. So did that all yesterday. Now, I don't want to keep doing that because you're wearing about like 200 pounds of gear. Not 200 pounds, probably like 70, 80 pounds of gear on you. And then if it get wet, it can actually get up to like 500 pounds that you're lugging around. It's insane. But that's a lot of stress on your joints. So now today, I ran for 25 minutes, then did the rower for another 10. Then I went back to the gear, but I didn't run. I did more of what are those step ups. Did the same concept. What I did do was actually I went outside to my car and ran from the car inside the firehouse, threw on all my gear, put on the pack and everything. So now I'm at an elevated rate, whatever. Either way, right? I induced the stress. And I'm going to consistently keep doing that until I am now comfortable being in a consistent, where I can be in that environment, be stressed. I even had my boy who came in to work out. I had him yelling at me while I'm doing all this. So that way I can learn to block out the noise. because I also realized, like, when I had the music blasting, like it was very disorienting, to say the least. But being consistent in that now gives me more, how should I say this? It gives me more confidence, right? Being in a place of being comfortable in the place of being uncomfortable, right? We always hear people say, like, you got to be comfortable in being uncomfortable. So the only way to get to that is to consistently do something that makes you uncomfortable. Now, how does that play out, right? Like, I just showed you that example of the firehouse, right? But not everybody's a fireman. So how does that play out in our lives? A good portion of us are fathers, a good portion of us are husbands, right? And for me, I look at my life, right? And I said, all right, you know what, Durin, I am doing all this work for the firehouse, trying to be comfortable in being uncomfortable. What else in my life am I uncomfortable with that I need to work on? And again, like I said, I'm speaking on this. It's not like I'm speaking for you, but it's really for me. And I'm speaking out loud. Maybe that helped me, right? What else in my life that I'm uncomfortable with that I need to get comfortable being? Excuse me. And I realize that I'm a person, I take on a lot. I take on a lot of responsibilities, but then I also, if there's a responsibility that I'm not too familiar with, or that is quote unquote uncomfortable, I shy away from it and go to the one that is still uncomfortable, but is a little more uncomfortable, where I feel I have more control over. And I think as men, we do that a lot. Even as people, we do that a lot, but specifically as men, we do that a lot, where it might be something that we are very uncomfortable with, i.e., saying how we feel to our significant other, i.e., saying how we feel, or speaking up to a person that you're in charge, that's in charge of you, like a boss or manager, speaking up for yourself. So we tend to kind of go, all right, you know what? Let me not do this. Or even if we do attempt it, because we are not in tune with our emotions or how exactly to decipher on how to say something, we get angry, then the yelling starts, and then it becomes about a male bravado, you know? And I noticed for myself, that is something that I've done, that I do, where I'm not comfortable talking about things right then and there sometimes. Sometimes it takes me a little while where I have to step back and think about it, and then I can get back to it and talk about it. But sometimes is I step back and think about it, but even when I do think about it, now I'm overthinking about it, where I'll overthink and go, you know what? If I do say this, then this person's going to say this again, and this is how it's going to happen. And now you're having the conversation with yourself when you're supposed to have that conversation with the individual or the thing that's making you uncomfortable. Right? So with that, it's like our mindset needs to change. And just like Steve, I see that you wrote, we feel that way until we consistently attack those things that make us uncomfortable. It's very true. Until I consistently try to have the conversation right then and there, I will always be uncomfortable with having the conversation right then and there. To live in your uncomfortability is something that we should all strive to practice, right? Sorry. And that also comes with constantly putting yourself in those situations, or just constantly not shying away from those situations. I think back on a lot of things that I've been through that I probably never would have tried or never would have done, or that I was uncomfortable with doing, and that now I'm perfectly able to do them with no problem. Simple stuff. For those that can't think of it, simple things. Driving. How uncomfortable were you when you first started to drive? How uncomfortable were you when you first hit 70 miles an hour and you first hit 90 miles an hour? It was a very nerve-wracking feeling. And then now, think about it now. It's second nature. You Another example, how uncomfortable were you, living on your own if you have? If you was up under your parents all those years and you had siblings and whatnot, you always lived with somebody, and now you're on your own. Oh shit. How uncomfortable was it for me, you know, having my first kid, having a son, not knowing what to do as a father? That was an uncomfortable feeling, but I dealt with it. You face it head on. And now being a father is not uncomfortable. Yes, there's the difficulties, but I know now there's proof that I can take care of this kid. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I just got an alert. This is how much I'm trying to be consistent in Drin Talks. The Nick game is playing right now and I'm missing it. So just, I'm still looking at my alerts and whatnot. But yeah, I know that I can keep my child alive. In the beginning, I didn't think I could keep him alive. In the beginning, it was kind of like, what am I doing? Same thing with being a husband. Now you get married and you're like, damn, I have this whole wife and child. What am I gonna do? But you deal with it. You go through the motions, you learn, you make mistakes, you learn from them, and you continue to move on. Not saying it's ever going to be easy. Giovanni, listen, we don't right now, we don't respect the Nets right now, all right? This is not Brooklyn Nets area, it's New York Knicks. That's it. All right. Don't disrespect me on my channel again. Thank you. But yeah, you go through, you go through it and you learn. You make your mistakes and you try to move on. Now, I can tell you, for me, a big thing for me in staying consistent is time management. That's big, Time management, you guys are killing me with the updates. Time management is big, right? Now, like I said, I'm a person that I take on a lot. I like to stay active. I like to stay busy sometimes, but my time management could be a lot better. Like I said, I took on the lieutenant position, but before that, I took on being a volunteer. That came with its own, training regimen. Now, as lieutenant, that comes with more responsibilities where I have to spend a little more time at the firehouse. But now like I said, I'm also married and a father and a husband. So now I have to divvy up my time between the firehouse my job, my wife, my son. And I will be the first to admit I'm not the greatest at it. I'm probably doing bad at it right now. But it is something that I am confronting. I am noticing. So I'm going to now do my best to control my time management. And it's only, time is probably going to even be a little more or less because next week I actually start school again. So it's being consistent means controlling your time, controlling how I use that time, right? It's not being able to go, you know what? Hey, yeah, my friends are there. I can't talk that long. I can only stay 5 minutes, have a chat with y'all, and then I gotta go. And being consistent in doing that, or being disciplined, excuse me, that's what the word I'm looking at. Having the discipline to do that. So there was another point I wanted to bring up because it was consistency, time management, and should have wrote it down. It'll hit me. But yeah, so you know, if that means now I can't, and here's another thing with time management. I'm telling you, for me especially, like I said, I'm a person I like to watch TV. I have a lot of shows, but that kills your time, especially if you're a person who takes on a lot. You know, being having this show takes up time. Like I said, I was gone for a while, but I was still working on the show, learning how to use different programs for the show. And now, even with the Gin Talks, I'm trying to actually learn on how to combine so I can actually have guests. Like last week. Last week winded up being good, but then actually, as I put it up, for some reason, it was tweaking a little bit. So I got to perfect that. But it was an uncomfortable thing that now it's messed up. So I have to learn. But now that takes away from other things to do. So it's time management is very key. Damn, it's halftime already? All right, we down by 2. It's cool. It's cool. It's cool. And making time for those things. And they always say that saying of you make time for the things that's important to you. I don't know if I quite agree with that. Like, I agree with it to a certain extent. Yes, you make time for the things that are important to you. But I also think for procrastinators out there, I think it goes back to what I was saying before. Like, you probably make time for the things that you're more comfortable with, not the things that are important to you. Because there are things that are important to people that they just don't make time for it because, again, of that uncomfortability, that fear of the unknown. If I don't know how to do it, if I don't know how this person's going to react or whatever, like, why would I do it? Whereas I know I can control this one thing. And that feeling of being in control is so key. Like I said, that pack, when you have it on and you feel claustrophobic, it feels like you have no control over it and it panics you. So you learn you have to put the pack on. You have to put your gear on. You have to work with it, in order for you to get that control. And then it brings you to things in your life where you feel out of control of, but your only way you're going to get that control is working on it. The only way you're going to not fear having an argument with somebody is having the conversation with that person. Like I said, I say this because I want to hear it. I'm saying it for me. Sorry. So, like, that's the only way you break that cycle, is literally putting yourself out there and doing it. There's no other way. There's no other way you're going to be comfortable doing uncomfortable things. Without doing it, without setting the time to do it, setting a time aside to do it, and mastering your craft. And what makes you not consistent is being complacent. Like you are complacent in being in that place of inconsistency. And what we say in the Air Force, what I started saying to my probies, is complacency kills. Being complacent, not working on your craft, can get you killed. Can get you killed or get someone killed in that fire. Being complacent and not working on your craft could get me or someone killed because I fucked up the plane. I didn't know my craft. Being complacent and not working on my relationship with my son. Let's be real. It can get my son killed. But it can also kill our relationship. It can kill our bond. Being complacent and not working on my marriage can kill my marriage. Being complacent, not working on relationship with friends can kill friendships. Being complacent and not working on my job can get me fired. It can kill my job. So complacency kills, and we need to get off that place where we are complacent and being happy and just being like, we should always strive to be better and better and better. And like I said, it's something that I am trying to work on in all facets of my life. Not just the fire service, not just the Air Force, not just being a dad, not just being a husband, not just being, a great worker. Like, working diligently towards that makes you, man, as a man, it makes you a better man. I think as men, we should always, like, there should never be a point in time where we're like, all right, we're good. We should always be like, yo, living at that seat where, like, I'm not good. I need to get better. What's the late great Kobe say? That's Mamba mentality, right? We should always have that Mamba mentality, that killer instinct. That's what Jordan did, right? And everybody watched the documentary. You know what I mean? He called people out left and right. If you couldn't hang, you couldn't hang. And he let you know. That's how we should live. That gives us the consistent, oh my God, what is going on today? Sorry. That was so rude. My bad. But that gives us that consistency. So yeah, that's the gist of what I wanted to say tonight. I think, yeah, I think that that was a realization. That was a hard realization for me. And this all stemmed off of, like I said, me going into that training facility and feeling like I was going to leave my men. That's how uncomfortable I felt. And then I looked at, as I sat back after the training and really thought about shit, I had to now realize that uncomfortable feeling, how does it affect me on all levels of my life? How does it look like? What does it look like in all facets of my life? And, you know, I've come to the conclusion that I'm uncomfortable in a lot of things. I'm uncomfortable in a lot of things that I need to get comfortable with. I'm complacent in a lot of things. You know, I didn't like the way my body looked. I started working out. I was consistent in working out. Then what happened? I got complacent because I liked the way my body looked. I stopped. Then what happens? You don't like the way your body looks again. Or you don't like the way you react to a certain thing. You know, again, I've worn packs for years. I was in and out of the fire, perfectly fine, not sucking on air, nothing. But what happened? I didn't run as much as I used to. I wasn't wearing the pack for 3 years. And I come back and that panic happens. Like I said, I haven't had that panic since I was a probie, and that was 8 years ago. But I get complacent. You know, I thought everything was smooth. I thought everything was great. Then I got fucked up. You know, I look at the facets of my life of, all right, I could be spending more time with my son. You know, learning him, talking with him, teaching him. But I'll be watching TV. You see what I'm saying? I got complacent with that. So I have to manage my time a little better. TV will always be there. I'm sure there'll be a time where I can sit and watch, but this time could be spent with my son. Or maybe I can incorporate things to do with him while not necessarily watching TV together, but like, you know, making a video with him as I'm learning, you know, the video editing and stuff for the show. You know, stuff like that. Same thing with my wife. You know, making time for date nights with her. You know, working on that. Having conversations. You know, meaningful conversations. More meaningful conversations. You know, that will grant me more in the long run. And it's not to say that it's stuff that I don't do. It's just I could be better. We all could be better. In anything that we do, we all could be better. So, yeah, like I said, that's the gist of what I wanted to say. Appreciate you guys for logging on. I know, again, we started a little late today. My computer was being very slow. It usually happens once I shut it down. You know, I usually leave it on running a lot, but I figured since it was on a lot, let me actually just shut it down, let it, you know, cool down for a little bit. But I didn't get here in time to kind of warm it up and shit. So appreciate it. You guys have been showing me a lot of love. I appreciate all that love. Make sure you hit the like button, leave a comment, all that. Tell people about the talks. Tell them to log on. Please. Even if they missed the live show, this video will be up on the channel. There's other videos. I'm currently working on a video. It's going to be a standalone. It won't be a live. It'll be posted out once I, you know, really fine tune everything of what I want to say, so that way it can be properly done. Again, the lives I'm gonna have it a mixture. I'm gonna have it where I'm just doing standalones, and I'm gonna have it where I have guests. I do have a couple of guests lined up. Like I said, once I really figure out how we can put the screens together, that will be up perfectly. And I appreciate it. Again, I cannot say enough how much I appreciate you guys for logging on. Appreciate you guys for keep rocking with me. You know, we started this in July and it's still going on. Initially, I was uncomfortable doing it. I'm still uncomfortable hearing my voice, but I am getting used to it. I actually do listen to my YouTubes and interviews and all of that stuff afterwards now. Again, with the video editing, I have to listen to it. So I'm getting used to it. But besides that, thank you. So with this, I'm going to end. This is Drin Talks.